All right, we are live.
Rocco, am I kicking it off or what?
You're kicking it off because this is your event, and let everybody understand exactly what's going on.
Okay, so what we are doing is we're trying to get a lot of the issues that's going on inside the Texas prison system to the public, but also get their voices out to the public. So we're holding a contest for people to come up with a hip hop song based on a beat that was provided by Studio 69. And with that, they're going to use what's on our Facebook page for the end indefinite restrictive housing, or if you Google end ad seg Texas, that's in the comments. But using the material on that, they're going to write a song, and the song's going to be judged by a panel. But the first prize is $200. The second prize is a vinyl hip hop record, and the third prize is a little merch bundle. The value should be about $25. So it'll go from 200 to 50 to 25.
So who's the one out for the beat? Was that Willie from
Yes,
Asia?
yes, Studio 69
Studio
out
69.
in Thailand.
So we're gonna send that beat to participants that want to. Basically, they got to write about what's going on in the prison.
In the Texas prisons, yeah.
And you're going to give them a little point form of exactly what's going on out there. I don't think everybody's following. What's your Facebook for that? Your TikTok? I know I follow it all, but
So the Facebook, if you Google ENDADSEGTX, my Facebook will pop up for the page. You won't have to log in if you don't have a Facebook. That's not an issue. But just using the material on the page. So there's letters from the guys themselves on the page. There's public information requests. We also have news articles. There's family members that'll talk about what their loved ones going through. So basically, you're putting yourself in this person's spot, and it can be either from an incarcerated individual's perspective, or it could be from a loved one on the outside, or it could be from the child's perspective that doesn't have their family member at home. Just as long as it's geared towards the Texas prison system, because this is going to be played on their tablets and throughout radio stations in Texas. So the title of the competition is Bars Through Bars. So it's breaching that divide that normally exists and getting their voices out here. And this will also be the deadline for this is January 1st, but that is an integral part in some of our upcoming activism for the new year.
Nice.
So we can't talk about everything yet, but there is that. There's much more that's going to be happening that it'll be involved in.
Nice. So basically, Brett, when is or how do I know that I've sent a few of my artists over here from the West Coast of Canada, the East Coast of Canada, directly to send you a message. Where can people send you a message direct to your Facebook and your TikTok?
So TikTok, Facebook. If you go on the Facebook page, my personal cell phone's in there. My PO box is in there. All my contact information. I believe my link tree is on there as well. There's within that link tree, there should also be some news articles attached to it.
And the deadline is
January 1st.
To have your song done by January 1st. But to get involved, are we going to have a certain date so this way we can have? I mean, I know some artists that could probably write a beat, within a week.
Right. So it starts from today's announcement. We need the song in for the beginning of the 1st, so like at midnight. And then by then we should be able to all vote on it. I'm hoping that day to have everything out, the results by the 2nd. But that's going to be, it'll either be between the 1st and the 3rd.
Right. And also East Van Cross merchandise and also the Battle Axe family is going to be donating some merchandise to the winner. the pieces will be offered to the winner because we want to make sure that the size fits. So that's something we want to throw in there also for everybody. You know, the whole concept of this, I believe the whole concept is what Brittany's been doing with Texas prison reform. I mean, through the summer with the tremendous heat waves, no water and stuff like that. People don't understand what these people are going through, and everybody always thinks, well, they're in prison, they shouldn't be. Well, that's not right. You go to
Right.
jail for a mistake you made. You want to come out and you want to make sure you don't make that mistake. But when you come out and you hate the world because you've been treated like a, you know,
You've been
Right.
treated less than an animal at a circus zoo because at least when they get hot, they put them in a tent. You know, when it's 117 outside, they averagely say it's about 5 to 10 degrees more in the cell. So, you know, like I used to think about like what I learned in World War II, what was done to people in internment camps and concentration camps. And I think to myself for a moment, wow, you know, these people, you know, they deserve to be incarcerated, but a lot of these people, what they did, some of these people are getting punished with shit that would have been done in World War II for a burglary charge with no violence attached to it.
yeah,
I mean, you know, when I think of someone being punished for a bad choice or a criminal act, it should never exceed what the individual did as a crime. And I will say there are some people who, yes, they do deserve to be in there, but a majority of these people do get released into general public. And if anyone's seen anybody have a mental meltdown because they were locked up in their house during COVID and that was bad, try doing a bathroom stall at a circus for 3.5 years straight, only getting one shower every 2 weeks, if that. You know, most people will not come out okay. So this opportunity is you get the first person experience. You're gonna see videos of how they handle inmates. You're gonna see letters. You're gonna hear testimonies from, I don't know, Brittany. Do you still have that trial? I mean, the public speaking that the families.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you know,
Right.
you'll see the mothers come in and they will say their piece about how their child did wrong. But for us as people, we need to do better as ourselves would for other people before they make the mistake and taking the preventative measure. This could be one of those things. Somebody could make a song through this contest that does derail somebody from making some really messed up choices in life. I
true.
know that if a lot more people heard songs about, man, I always hear these people talking about how I touch more dope than an opium farm, but I don't see you spending hard time for lesser offenses. So I know a lot of these people out there, younger people, especially in this day and age, for like the last 30 years, if you have music that encourages people to invest in a better environment, invest in yourself versus coming out of pocket and being poor by buying the next big chain or the next Gucci Man CD that doesn't teach people shit about living life or how to be a better leader for your community, then it's about time like a contest like this does come around so people can show that it's not just about humanity, it's wanting better for people.
No,
And this is a great way to do it. You get to be a voice for the voiceless. I know there's a lot of people out there who are going to watch this and they're going to be like, wow, I've been incarcerated. Yeah, there were some things I recall that weren't right. Well, then I encourage you to share these videos, share these posts, share the contest, share this live right now.
it's true.
Absolutely.
You know, Micah, they're not voiceless; they're just not being heard because
Well, yeah, no, and you're right. They are not voiceless.
yeah,
You're right.
they're just not
We
really
are
heard.
amplifying their voice.
And
You're right.
we're gonna try to do this through music to let the world
Exactly.
understand. Right? I think it's an amazing idea.
Brittany, tell us more about the radio shows that are getting involved.
So, if the song manages to not have any explicit content, that radio station is going to stream their content on a podcast that gets about 5 million views. And this is streamed across almost every state prison system runs on the Securus tablet network. They have podcasts, so what they're going to do is try to play as many in there so the guys can actually hear what you're doing for them. And then we have 2 other radio stations that are willing to pick up and play the song, and it's not just going to be a one-time thing. So this is something that we want to keep pushing forward, because eventually what we're doing isn't just going to be about like raising awareness, but we're going to end solitary confinement. We're going to change the conditions. A lot of what I want to do is restoring rehabilitation and to bring these guys' talents and their struggles back to the surface. Right now, they're in a statewide lockdown because 19 homicides have occurred within the units. A lot of that is due to K2, the drug. Inside the units, it's an epidemic. And while on that drug, a lot of the men go through a form of psychosis and go through a deep depression. So people in there are self-medicating at an alarming rate, and they're doing so because there's so much wrong. And the state of Texas does a really good job at keeping a lid on it, but what my team of incarcerated do is we're ripping the lid off, we're letting all the worms out, and until the public realizes that your tax money is being used to kill people and being used to inflict psychological damage and then release them back into your community. You know, anybody who's ever been through an abusive experience, whether it was, you know, people say it's brought on by yourself, but a lot of people do try to say that these men brought it on themselves for committing a crime. But the mother that he was speaking of, she went and spoke at the board, and she told the executive director of the TDCJ to show her hands, or show his hands to her, and she said, I just wanted to see if the blood of my son was still on them.
Oh,
her son was not serving a violent crime. He was not serving a death sentence, and he was not too long from getting out. And he passed away in his cell from extreme heat. He had a stroke. And he is just one of, right now, we're looking at about 50 people this year we lost to heat alone. Throughout all that, there's drugs, there's water contamination, excessive use of force. Right now, the lockdown that's occurring. Yeah, right now the lockdown that's occurring is targeting the guards because they're bringing in fentanyl into the units and just letting them decrease their own population instead of offering drug help. So they know there's an issue. They're finally starting to be embarrassed enough to do something about it. And right now, a lot of the ways that these men can connect with each other in prison, as well as their families and the community, is through music. And they can't get their voice out, but you can get it back into them and out into the community. There was a article, I tried to drop it in the chat, but it's saying it wouldn't post, but it's for the Texas Observer. That is the article that my team members just put out today. So Michelle, who is the journalist, she interviewed a few of the guys on my team from a few different units in Texas, and they kind of gave their testimony and their comments as to how they're handling everything right now. But I will say a lot of them are not okay. And when you make somebody so aware that nothing is within their control, including whether they die in that moment, I had one of my team members go man down. And what man down is, it means somebody fell out. Somebody needs an ambulance. Normally you would pick up a phone and dial 911, but
yeah,
these men don't have cameras. They don't have an emergency call button. They don't have an intercom system. So they resort to banging on their cell doors and screaming. And if you ever watch Lock Up Raw, you can imagine what that sounds like. But that can go on in excess of 45 minutes to an hour of just incessant banging. And for my team member, it did. He was down for an hour. I had to call in, and I ended up getting the runaround from the receptionist at the unit because it was a Sunday. She informed me that there was no personnel for medical on site. There was no chaplain available. There was no warden or administrative roles. When I asked her who I could speak to for rank, she told me she already sent a message and she can't look up where the individual was inside the prison. Now, I don't know about you, but that's a huge red flag. If I lived in Texas, if you can't tell me where an inmate is when you put him in solitary confinement, he should be in that cell. That's a concern. But I ended up having to call the sheriff's department and report that they were showing failure to render aid and a complete disregard for life because she continued to hang up on me.
Really?
Yeah. Nonstop.
So there's 12 minutes of recorded phone calls if you want to hear how that sounds like. You're more than welcome to. I have contraband photos. I have contraband videos. That can only be shared within this. I cannot have it shared on the internet. It'll put these men's lives at risk.
Oh.
But I will
say, if anybody wants to hear it, maybe they can just get a hold of you direct, and maybe you can listen to it together.
Exactly.
Yes. But there's a lot going on in there, and this is just one way to hold the state accountable. You know, prison, people go to prison as a punishment, not for punishment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So to inflict anything more than their sentence, to make them pay anything more than their debt, that's committing a crime against them, us, and humanity in general.
Well, you got to think about it. Like, these judges guarantee, like, I think of all the times, like, we're sitting there watching these, the 360 crime channel on Samsung because there ain't nothing else as good background noise. You hear the number one thing that these people try to say is, oh, well, they'll be going and getting re-educated, reprogrammed. Well, yeah, they tell you that, but they don't say in what degree and what direction. It is troubling to see that 90% of people I've met, whether it's a short-term stay in jail, which is 188 days or more, to me is a short-term stay. They are not the same. I've seen people take 1.5 to 3 years just by spending 3 months in the hole. You got an individual that goes by the name Grandpa. What is it? 3 years off, 2 years off from 40 years in the hole?
Yeah, he's been in solitary confinement for 38 years. On the 21st of this month, the day before your birthday, he turned 70 years old. His last name is Gova, and he is quite a character. And you think a lot of these men would lose themselves in there. And, you know, they, of course, are affected, and in ways that even their family won't know until they get home. But they are also so much of the best part of themselves. Grandpa was an animal lover, so he spends his time feeding mice and roaches and birds and the occasional possum that gets in the prison. And that's the most he can do to show kindness to somebody else other than himself, and to care for something that's living. So he does the best he can, but he accidentally called me with the Spanish prompt the other day. And he had me laughing because you have to press a certain button and be able to navigate that prompt. And I'm sitting here as a cheesehead up in Wisconsin. I'm like, going back to third grade, sitting in that thing, waiting to win that pencil for getting my numbers right. And I'm like, oh, heck. But, I mean, we have good laughs. Like, they're good people who made bad choices. And there is some who I see who you could tell they need a lot more work. But what I'm seeing from my team of individuals, and that's 47 people that I work with, they want to advance. They want to better. One of the things that I have a huge issue with is men in solitary confinement cannot access drug rehabilitation. When 60% of your population is in there solely for drug use, that makes no sense to me, because you have guards flooding in drugs, but you won't let them go to programming because they're a security risk? Like, what?
No, it makes no sense. And there's one other thing I really want to point out is watching you work with other advocates and other people in different sectors doing different things with the TDCJ, is that you are one of few people that actually hits an all-inclusive point for all men, not just one specific nationality or one specific religion. Are you able to tell a little bit of a limited context on that?
So the men I work with closely are all gang members from different gangs that the prison system deems a threat. A lot of the prison gang violence in the past was all due to racial stuff, but these men have been segregated together. So you think about you taking the men who couldn't get along, who basically worked to destroy each other in an effort to exist in the same place, but you put them in solitary together. They have learned to evolve and to work and to get along and how to celebrate holidays. And when they tell me, when all of them tell me, hey, we want to do better, we're ready to do right, just can you get us some programming, can you get me to where I could hug my loved one? I haven't hugged my child in 25 years. Like, if they're willing to behave, if they're willing to put forth the effort. I mean, we're 3 years into our team, so I mean, working with these men and the consistency and the work ethic they've provided, I don't question if they'll be successful. I just question where's the sanity in not allowing them to be. Okay, I'm done.
No, you got a message here. But like I said the other day, if everybody and whoever wants to be involved in this event, the best thing is to watch this and listen to what, Micah, yourself, and Brittany, yourself, have been talking about what's going on in jail, so you understand what you want to write about. I mean, it's going to give you a little bit of help here. Exactly these little stories about the person that's been there for 45-year grandpa and no rehabilitation and the conditions and everything and what the goddamn fucking guards are doing, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. So the stuff that we talked about on this little show here will help with
Material,
exactly what your material should be involving in when it comes to writing for this song. So Brittany, basically, let's let everybody understand right now. Send your request to
okay, so the Facebook page, if you Google End Ad Seg Texas, so I'll put it in the chat again.
So all you hip hop artists out there that want to get involved, and this is open to the public, not just Battle Axe. It's open to all artists, Send your request to Brittany.
Yeah, so if you Google that, the page will pop up. You'll recognize the logo and everything. If you don't have a Facebook, you can still access and scroll it because of how it was made. My phone number's on there. Feel free to call me, message me on Facebook. Whatever you want to do, I can info dump in a very short time. So if you got a 5-minute break and you're ready to listen, just give me a call. We'll work it out.
No, on the entertainment side, make sure you hit me up if you want the beat. That's wildeast.entertainment. Oh, sorry. wildeast.promotions@gmail.com. Or you can find me on Facebook at Micah Moses Miller as well.
And we should have all this information also on the Battle Axe Global Facebook. But like I said, now, Brittany, do you want these gentlemen or these persons to send you links so you can see exactly the kind of artists? Remember the song will be put on the radio. It's best not to use anything slander, racist, or anything else, because I don't think your song's going to make it then. We're looking for somebody who's going to explain the situation with clean language. So this way we can go further with the song. We just don't want to stop at one point. We want your song to go further. That means the radio station for 5 million people to listen to. You can make music. There's music out there called rock and roll. And rock and roll doesn't have anything. I play it in my tattoo shop all the time. There's nothing that I got to worry about when I play that music in my shop when there's mothers and children and everybody else being tattooed here. So I'm just trying to tell people you can write a song. You don't have to write everything with certain words in it to make yourself look fucking cool, okay? That's just my opinion, because music has gone out the fucking right field, especially with hip hop.
Very divisive these days.
It's fucked up. I tell you something. I just don't even want to listen to no more of this music, this new stuff anymore, because old school put the words in a different text form where it actually was showing you, like, look, you know what I'm saying? But these kids nowadays are listening to these fucking verses, and they don't understand that it's not something they want to use out in the streets because it just gets you in trouble. But
When you
anyways,
talk about that life, you will have people that test you, and in life, you better be ready to compensate for those disproportionate wins and losses, because if they don't add up right, you ain't gonna balance right either.
I try to tell the youth all the time in the future, look at people that live a certain lifestyle and see where they're at today. Okay? That's all I got to say. The word gangster doesn't mean, violent criminal. You know what I'm saying? The
No,
word
it
gangster
was meant to be.
nowadays can be
Yeah,
business, music, everything. I know what it means to me. I'm old school. I'm 51 fucking years old at the end of the day. They don't make them like us no more. And that word doesn't mean what we are nowadays. But if you want to, portray it in a good way, You can still.
absolutely.
Hey, Rocco, I'll go ahead and tell you right now, Grandpa, you and him could have some good conversations.
I would love to jump on the chat with him sometime.
Before we decide to wrap this up, there will be more details coming out on the second radio station that your music will be involved in, and it is in-house in the prison as well. Yeah, so stay tuned for details about that station as well.
All right, Brittany, thank you very much. Micah, I love you both. And you guys have yourself a great day. Keep those axes up. And you artists out there, this is a great opportunity to get yourself heard. It gives you an opportunity to actually see if you can do this because you got to take an idea and use your mind.
Remember, guys, the only time we fail is when we don't take the chance at all. That equals 100% failure. So even if you take the chance, just understand people put in the effort for it is more meaningful than it being the winning song.
And maybe if we get enough people involved that don't get the chance to make it to the end, we'll have a show and we'll play your songs. And
I got you, Scott.
We'll do something with that, okay?
Absolutely.
All right, axes up. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Love you guys.
Axes up. Love and peace, everybody.
Yes. Bye-bye.